Good morning, everybody. Still dark outside. I was gone this weekend, and Grant's video that I've been waiting for came up on his channel. He did a water session on Luke Joly Durocher. Now, as you guys know, I did a session here on this channel. I asked questions. We received answers from the box that some of them I can't verify, or I wanted more clarification on. So I sent Grant a list of questions, and he agreed to do a session, and he did. So I want to watch that session with you guys today. Now, there's a couple of reasons for me doing that. I don't know why I'm getting a shiver right there. I want to see if I hear what he's hearing. Most of the time, I'd say yes. It's very close to what Grant puts on the screen is what I hear. Sometimes I don't hear it at all. So I want to take a look at this, break down the responses that he got, see if there's anything that ties in with the video that I made, and is there anything that we can verify? So I just wanted to mention that a lot of you guys don't have a clue what Grant does. So in the description, there'll be a link to his channel. He does, I don't know, we were playing with Spirit Box apps, and we were having this back and forth conversation, and we were talking about what about modern AI? And Grant decided to start trying some software that's used for call centers to clean up calls. And originally he was dealing with white noise on the computer. Pink noise, white noise, they have different names for different frequencies of noise. And if you filter this, lo and behold, he found voices inside this filtered static. And over the last few years, he has progressed to running water through the kitchen sink, and he puts it in different bowls, and it makes different sounds. And then he tries, playing that recording right there live behind him on speakers and recording that and playing it back. Quite interesting stuff. And he's done sessions on all kinds of people that have passed away, celebrities, historical people, done some murder victim cases, things like that. And guys, this stuff blows my mind. So if you're interested, that's what Grant's channel is about. And today, I just want to see, did any of the responses that he gets from the sync, which has no Spirit Box app running, okay? Does it say any of the same things that my Spirit Box app said in my session? Let's find out.
Welcome to Optimal Frequency. I'm Grant. I speak to spirits here at my house, as you probably know, using a method that I developed. Today I'm going to be doing a session that my brother asked me to do. He was doing a Spirit Box session on a young fellow that went missing from this area, Luke Joly Durocher. He went missing maybe 10 years ago. He sent me some questions. I've done the session. I have not analyzed it. Let's get into this. Okay, this is recording. Grabbing my sheet. You spirits can come through the hack shack if you like. So I've got my wife's computer. You can hear the echo coming through. Let's turn this on. Sugar bowl.
There's the first response that he gets in the video as he's doing his setup. So this was recorded on his phone. This is the good thing about Grant's channel, is he tells you up in the top corner he's recording with multiple devices, which recording device this was captured on. And what he believes it says is, you have to know the answers with a big voice. Look at Grant's mood. Okay, so now, right away, to me, this is his spirit team talking in the background. If you watch his hundreds and hundreds of videos on his channel. This is who he communicates with. Is he asks his spirit team, can you get these people, whatever session he's working on, and you bring them forward and answer these questions. And many times we've seen where it seems to be a communication between a spirit team member or somebody on the other side asking a question that Grant reads off of a paper, and then the person responds, and we see this interaction. And we also see them talk amongst themselves in responses. So the first thing I'm going to say here is that it says Grant's name. Okay, so we've recorded some static off of water into the sink, and Grant's name comes out of this. Okay, and so what I'm doing now is the same that I do when I record my sessions, is I put the small section where they're speaking into the timeline, and I play it over and over and over. Now, in this case, watching this video, we're going to say, yes, I'm going to be biased right away because I'm reading what Grant's put on the screen. And once you've done that, it's very hard to get out of your head. But what I'm listening for and what I'm doing is counting syllables. So the cadence of what they're saying, and this is where sometimes I don't agree with what Grant puts on the screen. Sometimes I hear more syllables than what the words are that he's got there. So he gets the gist of it. Sometimes I hear exactly what's on the screen, and sometimes I don't. And in this case, I have to say I hear all three of these things. I agree with what he's put there. It could very well be those three things. That makes sense. It's what I hear. I guess the important thing to mention is it doesn't matter if we agree on the exact sentence or a word here or there that might be missing. The fact is there are words in there. There shouldn't be words recorded from running water. That's the amazing part. And he gets 200 views on these videos. It blows my mind. Okay, still in the setup phase. The next thing that comes through, we crazy, we don't offer. I'm kicked in the head right now. So, okay, again, guys, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but then again it does, because I'm not sure who's talking. I don't think we're talking to the people that killed Luke, because I don't think they're dead yet. They would be young. They would still, right now, only be in their 30s. So who is we crazy? What does it mean when it says we don't offer? I don't know. Those are the two things I hear as well. I'm kicked in the head right now. Well, that could be Luke, right? Because we think that he was jumped on the street and beaten to death on the street.
I'm picturing an image of Luke in my mind to try and connect with him. I've said my prayer of protection. Can you, Spirit, say his name now, please?
Oh, there's a full shivers, waves of shivers hitting me. The next thing that comes up, Grant's saying, I'm picturing Luke in my head. And the response that comes through, there's another wave of shivers. It is Luke. And that is clear as can be. Okay, so already 3 minutes into this video, we've heard it say Grant's name, and he's trying to contact Luke, and it says it is Luke.
So you want to come through and answer these questions from Gary.
And then Grant says, do you want to answer these questions from Gary? The response, wait for the questions. Again, very clear.
Okay, I want to thank my spirit team for doing this. And is Gary's spirit team involved in doing this as well?
This is, okay, he's right on point. Is Gary's spirit team involved here? For the reply, both teams, we are linked. Well, we're twin brothers. I'm pretty sure we would have the same people on the other side watching over us. The response makes sense. Again, very clear.
I hear the talking over my shoulder, so this is good. Okay, I want to comment on that. These spirits will say my name all the time, as you see in my videos, okay? All the time they say my name. Rarely do they say my brother's name unless I'm doing something with him or it has questions to do about him, etc., right? To have them say, now I don't know who they're talking to, tell him it's Grant, yes, and Gary, but I mean to have them say both my name and my brother's name in the same little sentence, this is not random. There's a voice, an intelligent voice, talking, and something's going on here in this communication. They already said, both teams, here I'm getting huge shivers.
Tell him it's Grant, yes, and Gary. So here we go again. Both of our names have now been said.
To me, that's just amazing that they said my name and then my brother's name. I'm reading his questions. Can you spirits also use the hack shack downstairs?
Okay, so again, it's a third party talking to someone else. And then the next response is in reply to, yes, we can demonstrate, close the mic, allow me to get a few people. So again, we've heard this many times, as I said earlier, it's like there's a bunch of them working together. I don't know what they're working. Is it technology? Is it future technology? Is that how they're communicating? Is it spiritual? You know, is that what spirituality is? Is just a future technology from a billion years in the future? I don't know, but it always sounds like a team working together. I don't know the process. I can't explain it. But you get this chitter chatter amongst them as he does his sessions.
Okay, so I sat down and listened to the whole 15 minutes of Hack Shack that I let run earlier. It never went off once until the very end. I was done the session. I was coming down the stairs out here outside the office. I heard it go off. I didn't know what the message was. So I came in and I put my stuff down on the table and I said, well, I got to go get the camera and the tripod. If you want to leave one more message, while I do that. And then I went. And as I hit the stairs again to come back in, it went off once more. So it went off twice at the very end. I'll put the messages in where they come in after basically this session was kind of done. Okay, now speaking of the hack shack, I did a session the other day and only a couple words were coming through at a time and it wasn't very helpful. And I asked Luke if it would be okay to ask him these. And what did you say at that time, Luke?
I've got something to tell. I hear something to tell. I hear there's a little bit of a click first, then I clearly hear something to tell. So this might be the first one where I might disagree. Again, Grant gets the gist of it. Who knows? Is his earphones better than mine? I don't know. I clearly hear something to tell, which is exactly what he's saying. Luke said, makes sense. Luke is coming through. He's not done. His body hasn't been found. His case isn't solved. He has something to tell.
Okay, let's jump into these questions. What happened the night Luke disappeared?
This shouldn't amaze me, but it does, okay? So my session clearly told us what happened to Luke, that he was jumped outside. There was more than one person. There were witnesses that were there, watched this happen and left. They didn't agree with this. Things got out of hand. The first response that Grant records when he asks what happened to Luke, it was a group of people, also pretty scary. It was on the way. We were suddenly watching this group. So, okay, if we analyze that, it makes sense. It agrees with what I found in my session. The only part that doesn't make sense to me is when it says we were suddenly watching this group. So again, is that the spirit team talking? Or his spirit team talking? When they're giving us the information, oh no, our boy Luke here, we're watching him from the other side. We saw what happened that night. It was scary. We were watching this group. That kind of makes sense. I don't know. We don't know who's talking. Where are these voices coming from? Blows my mind that it's saying the exact same things that I got in my session. A group of people. Oh, interesting. What's in your backpack? I clearly hear that. It's now like they're replaying what happened that night. A flashback in history. And we get that all the time in my sessions. What's in your backpack? Is it really a concern? So I'm going to stop here and go back through the files and the online stuff that I've looked at before, because I can't recall. Did Luke have a backpack? In the W5 video, it talks about his mother going to town a few days later and finding his jacket, his cell phone, and a few things, but I don't know if he had a backpack. Can we verify? Did Luke have a backpack? Give me a minute. Okay, so just rereading some police statements here. It says the jacket he was wearing, his glasses, and cell phone were later found at a friend's downtown apartment. And I don't recall it mentioning a backpack. So here's the thing. We know that Luke was in town visiting friends at an apartment. He was going to get a ride home the next day with his parents, 60 kilometers back to the town he came from. They've never mentioned a backpack, but a kid would probably have a backpack if he was traveling to hang out and spend a night in town. So this is an ongoing investigation. So maybe the backpack is missing. Maybe they don't have it. Maybe they do have it. Maybe they're just not releasing certain information. I have not heard them talk about a backpack. So this makes it super hard and frustrating to me, because if we could prove that he was wearing a backpack, then what's coming through this session makes 100% sense. But as of right now, I don't see any mention of it in the media reports that I'm seeing. But logically, it makes sense that this kid would have had a backpack. So there's a full shiver, because I had a thought on that as well. He wouldn't have had the backpack when he was at the bar. We know he was rejected, wasn't allowed into the bar. Did he go back to the apartment? Did he gather up his stuff? Because in my session, the female voice said, you can't stay here. My session also, full shiver of acknowledgement, full shiver, guys. This is what happened. I'm telling you, we've talked about it. He called his dad to get a ride home that night, and his dad didn't answer the phone. So did Luke gather up all of his stuff, including a backpack, and leave? Because this would be important. As to time of death, this would prove that he wasn't jumped going from the bar back to the apartment. It would have been after he went to the apartment, got his stuff, and left. And that means that the killers would have brought his stuff back to the apartment where it was later found by his mother. So this is important stuff, important details that I can't verify. Makes sense. There's a full shiver. It's like somebody's verifying. I'm getting shivers saying, yes, that is correct.
Tell me about the kiss.
Must be a kiss. Okay, yes, it's saying a word that Grant has just said. And remember, we're not dealing with an app here. So the fact that something is repeating part of a question that he's asked, I was hoping for more information. Maybe it's still coming here. I wanted the name of the person he kissed, maybe. Is it going to say that? I don't know. Let's... Whoa. Wait a minute. I went back and listened to that section again. Here's where I think there was a mistake. Full shiver of acknowledgement. Are you ready? They're asking you when you kicked him. I'm positive that that there was a mistake right there. Are you ready? They're asking you when you kicked him. So I think we're getting a clearer picture confirmed not only through my sessions but by Grant's session here, that this roughing up of Luke on the street led to him being kicked in the head. And is that what killed him?
Who owned the apartment you were visiting?
Okay, the next section, again, full shivers here. I think there's a tiny mistake made here. Grant heard they've been caught stealing it. As it fades out, he wasn't sure. He puts question marks around it. I agree, that's what was said, except it's not they. It says, I've been caught stealing it. They just said that. And an intuitive feeling came over me that, yes, this is Luke saying this. Okay? And it's not true. Full shiver of acknowledgement. I wish I could monitor this scientifically and show you guys. Okay? They said amongst themselves that Luke stole something, and they used this as a preface to jump him on the street. And he's saying, they just said that. It's not true. In my session, the first thing it said was, does he have it on him? They were looking for something. And this, again, is alluding to the same thing. One of these characters said, hey, Luke stole something from the apartment, I guess, or something of mine, whatever the case may be, and they used that to get everybody riled up and jump him on the street that night. And Luke's saying, they just said that. It's not true. And I make no apologies at this point, guys, because when I do this, from my last session and moving forward, I have to be honest in what I feel and what I know. I've denied it for a long time. I just say, I don't want to say that because I sound crazy. How would I know that? How could I possibly know that? Well, I do. I know that. It's an intuitive feeling in me that that is the meaning of what was just said there. And it makes sense with the other videos that I made, and I'm telling you, that's what we're talking about. You're just going to have to take Gary's psychic word for it, I guess. It's something I've always said, no, I'm not psychic, but I know things sometimes, and I'm going to start listening more to those feelings, and I have to in cases like this. Yeah, that's the truth. That's what happened. I honestly have no idea what this next section is talking about. He's not naked. I'm not visible. Make believe. I hear those words. Who's saying it and what context does it have in this case? I have no idea. Moving on.
Were you killed by a red brick building?
Yeah, I know I'm correct. The next question, were you killed by a red brick building? First response, he's correct. They're referring to me. I said that in my session that I just had a feeling, and as I investigated it further, that seems to be the case, that Luke was killed by that apartment building that he was visiting, and guess what? It's a red brick building, so I already knew that. This is where, again, it gets a little strange. Female voice cuts in. So again, here's something interesting, right? We get male voices and female voices on water. Like, again, this isn't an app. And I can tell, I can hear female, I can hear male. There is something there. I hear they got in his way. So very close. And again, that makes sense. They jumped him on the street. They got in his way. We're not making this up. They're telling us what happened that night, and a lot of it has been confirmed. When we watch these other police reports and documentaries, they seem to know more than they've told the public. And I mean, I only know what I can read online and what I've seen in those little snippets here and there. But yeah, they got in his way and then they jumped him. And then apparently he got kicked in the head.
What part did the girl's ex play in your death?
So here's some information talking about the people that were involved at that apartment. We know there was Luke and his local friends. But the people that did this to him, it says, fix your records, they came from down south. Okay? That's something that could be confirmed, where any of these people from out of town visiting up here in North Bay. Now, the town that Luke came from is northeast of here, so we know it's not referring to Luke. I think it's referring to the people that did this to him. Again, something that could be verified. I can't verify it, but... Okay, so I'm filming on my phone now because I had already filmed the whole thing, and then as I'm editing this, I hear this section again, and I finally figured out, I knew this part wasn't right, but I couldn't figure out, I thought it was saying connecting. And actually what it's saying is, I want to make sure this is correct. A, I didn't hit you. How friggin' Canadian is that? It actually says, A, want to make sure this is correct. A, I didn't hit you.
Were you killed because of a kiss?
You already paid for this. He paid them to watch her. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's what I hear.
What were they looking for when they jumped you and said, does he have it on him?
Oh, interesting. Good question. I say that because I'm the one who wrote the questions. In my session, it came across immediately. Get him up. Does he have it on him? Referring back to something that Lucas stole. According to this session, the answer, there is a knife. Right away, he searched my backpack. Again, this clearly, full shiver, says he searched my backpack. So I now have in my mind no doubt that Luke had a backpack on him that night. And he was leaving the house, probably for the final time. Where is this backpack? Why have I not heard of it? I don't know. But this is going to be key to proving that what's coming through these sessions has a basis here in reality. Luke had a backpack. They've mentioned it twice. Those kids used that stealing of a knife as an excuse to jump him and search him. So now we know what they're talking about. A knife.
Okay, super interesting. So he says there's a knife, and right away he searched my backpack. So to me, the most interesting thing is that this was a 6-minute conversation I had at the sink trying to get answers, okay? In the beginning, they mentioned this group was approaching them and very clearly said, what's in the backpack, right? So they mentioned the backpack. Now, 15 responses later, there's a continuous story here because he's talking about them searching his backpack. This is not coincidence. The story makes sense. This method works. It's not as clear as I'd like it to be, obviously, right? I wish I could just talk a sentence and tell us, hey, Grant, so-and-so killed me. You know, it doesn't work that way.
I have said the same exact thing that Grant has just said. Why can't the spirits just come through in my Jack and Carol case that I spent a year working on and tell me, exactly like Grant said, this person did this to me? You know, and I don't know why it doesn't work that way, but he's right. It doesn't. They can't seem to come through and just give us that information.
I do the best that I can, but I mean, that's pretty clear. He says there was a knife, and right away he searched my backpack. And the fact that it loops back to a previous response, this is making sense. Who is Mike?
Again, another verifiable response. If it's true, I got the name Mike in one of my sessions, and I didn't know what context. I was thinking that he was the ex, so we asked about it here in this session. I'm connecting to the owners. He owns the apartment buildings. He might still be the ex. Maybe the ex owned the apartment buildings. Maybe he's not the ex. But in this session, it's clearly answering who Mike is, and it's saying he's the owner of that apartment. That's something that we could verify.
Were you placed in a freezer after your death?
The next response, were you placed in a freezer? Grant hears, you ask it, get close, I already asked it. I don't believe that's what he says. He says, he asked you, get close, and then the response is, I already answered. Take your pick. Ice is, and then Grant puts question marks. I hear ice is freezing. Something like that. But he is saying that he was placed on ice. And again, rumor was he was put in a freezer.
Did you call your dad for a ride home because you were told you could not stay at the apartment?
So as you guys know, if you watched my session, I had a real strong connection to the phone call that I know Luke made home to his dad to say, come and get me, I can't stay in North Bay. And the dad said, not now, I'm sleeping, and didn't wake up. And clear as day, this response is, they couldn't make it to get me. There is no doubting what's said there. I hear that 100%. Maybe I'm so ignorant. I don't know why he would say that, but that's, again, Grant's right. That's what I hear. I guess maybe he's reflecting that as a teenager, he just thought he would, call and get a ride whenever he wanted. But I'll tell you right now, as a father, Luke's dad, if this is the case, would do anything to go back and answer that phone and go a night early and pick up his son. Any parent would. Full shivers right there. It's actually going to bring a tear to my eye, so I'm going to move on.
Did they dump your body in a river?
I don't know. It's muddled. It's not the clearest response. The first thing I hear is they don't know the woods here. That's what I heard. So again, Grant's getting the gist of it. They're talking about the woods, and it gets stranger from here. He says, I pulled some dynamite. He's going to make a big hole. I hear the word dynamite. Yeah. What are they talking about? I don't know. When I asked in my session where Luke was, said they put him in the river. This whole response is strange. I hear dynamite. What are they? I mean, if that could be, if that is part of this case, then that's mind-blowing. But why would they say dynamite, right? Again, who is talking? Why are they talking? And why would they choose a word that we both clearly hear, dynamite, unless it has something to do with this case? Now, there is a possibility here that he was spread around, right? I mean, maybe, I heard he was dismembered and put in a freezer. Okay? And this is often the case that they don't want to just dump a body in one place because somebody can find it, but if you get rid of parts and bits and pieces, it's less likely that somebody will find it. And is that what happened to Luke? I don't know.
Can Gary help find your remains?
And then quite clearly, it's not going to make you redeem us. Again, who is talking? And are they talking to me and Grant at this point? Because we're asking these questions. It's not going to make you redeem us.
Luke, is there anything that you want to tell us about this whole incident, about your murder?
Originally, I agreed with Grant on the all right, tell the police I'd rather warn. Then during the editing process, I'm like, that didn't make sense. And when I just listened to it again, no, it says, all right, tell the police they're rather warm. Meaning they're on the right trail. With whatever their investigation is telling them, they're warm. You remember the game you used to play when you were a kid? Hot and cold? You'd go hide something and then the other kids would go look for it and you'd yell out hot or cold? And the closer they got to the truth or the hidden item, they were warm? I think that's what he's referring to. But then he goes on to say, I'll be in the compost. Let them look. Now I do hear compost. I'll be in the something compost. I think he's saying the name of somewhere. I've listened to it again and again because it's not making sense. I'll be in the something compost. I'll be in the something compost.
And do you have a message for your father?
Oh, full shivers, do you have a message for your father? Quite clear. We'll get him answers. The pink book. Very clear. Very, very clear. Very pronunciated book. I don't know anything about a pink book. Maybe the authorities do. I hope they do. Again, another point that could be confirmed.
All right, thank you for answering these questions. Love, peace, joy, and adventure to you, sir. Love, peace, joy, and adventure to you, viewers.
Okay, so here's going to be a real test. I've just heard a Hack Shack response in Grant's video, but I don't see any text on the screen, so he's not biasing what I'm hearing. I'm going to clip that. I'm going to repeat it a bunch of times. I'm going to let you guys know what I hear, and then we're going to see, I'm sure he's going to put up on the screen what he hears, and we'll just see, you know, how far apart are we on what we're hearing. So the first voice that I hear is female, and I hear it say, I see him. And then I thought I heard a male voice. I'll continue on. I've just clipped that section out. Moving on. Okay, so there is actually another female word here because I just spliced it and then I copied the beginning. The male, it's Luke. It is Luke because I was going to say Luke says, and again, it's just an intuitive feeling. I very clearly hear him say, I miss him. And he's referring to his dad. Again, there's such a strong connection between him and his dad. I miss him. Now, the last word, what the female says, I don't know because they're talking over each other.
Okay, so this is still going, and as I was on the stairs right there, I just heard it go off. I don't know what it said. I couldn't hear. It wasn't close enough. I definitely have, right now, shivers across my neck and down my arms. I think your dad was hit pretty hard by this whole thing, Luke. I don't know if you left me a message or not upstairs. You want to leave him a message on the Hack Shack? I gotta go get the camera and the tripod, so this is your last chance to leave a message on this recording. Okay, so as I got to the stairs, I heard it go again. We'll assume that's the final message on the session.
All right, guys, so that's it. Super interesting, and I can't state enough how I can do a session, he does a session using completely different methods, okay? I'm using Spirit Box. He's using his own method that he's created over the fountain, and we get the names of the characters involved in this. We get the same concepts, that he was ambushed on the street, he was searched, they were looking for something. He misses his dad, that connection. All of these things, it's not coincidence. This is real. And to me, this just further proves that I think we've kind of figured out some of the story, at least, of what happened to Luke. I don't know if there's anything else I can do more on this case, but a huge shout out to Grant for doing that session and asking those questions that I sent him. And guys, if you can, go over to his channel, like, subscribe, give him some support, because it's crazy that he only gets 200 views. It's so much work to do these when you've got to listen to them for hours over and over and over. It's a ton of work. Mr. Gage is up, and we're going to go for a walk. So that's it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below.